You know, sometimes the biggest stories, the ones that really change everything, are hidden in the dustiest corners of old archives. This isn't a story you've heard before. It's not about kings and queens, not really. It's about a single family that, from the foggy shadows of London's docks, built an empire. This is the story of a secret syndicate. Okay, let's dive right in with this single, incredible clue. It's a royal pardon from 1484. King Richard III, a man in serious trouble, pardons a powerful merchant named Richard Gardner for, well, pretty much everything. But look closer. There's an exception. This isn't forgiveness. It's a giant red flag, hiding in plain sight. And that one little line just blows the whole thing open. It raises a massive question. What on earth was happening at the Staple of Calais, the official gateway for all of England's wool, its most valuable export, that was so bad, so completely unforgivable, that even a desperate king couldn't bring himself to just let it go?
So, that leads us right to the man at the center of all this, Alderman Richard Gardner. And we need to be clear, he wasn't just some rich merchant. He was the head of a syndicate so powerful, he pretty much had the king over a barrel.
I mean, just look at this power dynamic. On one hand, you have Richard III. He's got the crown, the legal authority, the whole royal shebang. But he's broke, and in London, he has no standing army. On the other hand, you have Richard Gardner. He controls the golden fleece, the wool trade. That means he controls the cash flow for the entire kingdom. And an army? He's got one, the only professional force in the city, his private dock guards.
So you have to ask yourself, how does a family of merchants get that powerful? Powerful enough to basically put a king in a corner? Well, the answer isn't something that happened overnight. To understand their power, we have to go way, way back.
This timeline is just incredible because it shows they were always there. Under different spellings of the same name, this one family, this clan, controlled the crucial river crossings in London for 2,000 years. They went from being tribal toll takers to Roman logistics men to the guys who ferried entire armies. They outlasted every invasion, every dynasty. So here's the kicker. The source of their authority was something called ancient rights. What does that mean? It's basically a legal loophole the size of a castle. It meant that their right to control the docks and ferries was recognized as existing before the Norman conquest. Think about that. In the eyes of the law, they didn't need the king's permission for anything they did on that river, because legally speaking, their family was there first.
Okay, so having an old family name and some ancient legal rights is one thing. But it doesn't make you rich enough to challenge a king. For that, you need a system, a machine for making money. And boy, did they have one. It was called the Skim.
Just look at this number. £40,000. That's the estimated value that official customs accounts from 1483 said just went missing from the wool bales the Gardiners handled in a single season. For the 1480s, that's a mind-boggling, astronomical fortune. And this is exactly how they did it. It was a beautifully simple four-step scam. First, they used their ancient rights to control the docks. Second, they used their official government jobs as cargo assessors, or seekers, to grade the wool. Third, they take the best wool and declare it wet, or rat-infested, to lower its taxable value. And finally, they'd pay the lower tax to the king and just pocket the huge difference. It was genius in a completely criminal way. All right, so when you have that much untraceable cash and you control all the logistics in and out of the most important city in the kingdom, you're not just a player anymore. You're past influencing kings. You're in the business of making them. And the evidence is all there. When Henry Tudor decided to invade and take the throne, who do you think organized it? The Gardiners? Hired a mercenary army from Germany. They used their shipping network to land the entire invasion force. Their own private dock guards provided the muscle. It's even reported that the final fatal blow that killed King Richard III on the battlefield was struck by a Gardiner kinsman. They didn't just back a winner, they built him.
Okay, so the story doesn't end there. Not even close. After 1485, this method, this playbook of using commercial wealth and logistical control to project armed power, it didn't stay in London. It became the blueprint for the entire British Empire.
It all starts right here, in London. This is the laboratory. This is where they perfected the model. Control trade, skim the wealth, and use that wealth to build power.
Then you fast forward about 100 years. Where does all that wool money go? A huge chunk of it gets funneled into funding the plantation of Ulster in Ireland. It's the same system, just on a bigger scale. Use private money to fund a colonial expansion.
seize land, and take control.
And it doesn't stop there. The model jumps the Atlantic. In 1682, a member of the family arrives in the New World with William Penn, and what's the very first thing he does? He sets up a ferry on the Schuylkill River, copying the exact same London system of controlling a river crossing to control trade and wealth. He's literally planting the family business in a new continent.
And that leaves us with a pretty big thought, right? We're all taught history as this story of kings, queens, and glorious battles. But what if the real story, the one that actually explains how our modern world got built, is hidden away in the quiet, boring-looking accounting ledgers? You know the saying, history is written by the victors. But maybe the real power has always belonged to whoever controls the receipts.